20 minutes. 5045 words. Video. France Square is once again open for traffic after opposition's decision to reduce the protest frequency. Ruling QPMP Hovik Agazarian. That's a positive development. Our opposition colleagues, while pursuing the same goals as we do, albeit with different approaches, had decided to move from the parliament to the streets to inform the public about the concerns they had. I'm sure the public was already informed about the challenges and there was no need for such a long street movement. They could have held a couple of rallies to understand the public sentiments. But it lasted for a while. And they realized they couldn't achieve a change of power. The public who attended their rallies consisted of various layers. Some attended the rallies despite disliking ARF and the former regime. Thanks to the clear-headed decision of some of our opposition colleagues and the authorities, together as a nation we overcame yet another crisis. A small crisis. Opposition MP Anna Makrichian about the future of street protests. Reporter. The homeland hasn't been saved. And Nicole Pashinyan hasn't resigned. Yet PU MP Arthur Vanetzian has left the streets despite saying on April 17 that he would only do so after Pashinyan's resignation. How come? Oppo MP Makrichian. Correct. The homeland hasn't been saved because the primitive traders continue to occupy the country. We will continue to be on the streets. And so will Vanetzian. As I've said earlier, the struggle against the traders won't be easy. We aren't dealing with reasonable people. Any reasonable person would have resigned after hearing that they are traitors several times every day. And seeing these 1,000-strong protests for several months. They should have resigned. But they proved that they really are traitors. But they will eventually resign. Reporter. How many years later? Oppo MP. I don't know when. Debt to GDP ratio reduced from 63.5% to 60.3% last year. And could further reduce to 59% this year. Finance Minister. If the exchange rate at the end of this year is lower than at the beginning of the year, then it's possible that the ratio won't exceed 59%. Our initial estimate was that this year would end with 60.2%. Last year we paid 72.5 towards the foreign debt interest. If the exchange rate deviates by 5%, it will amount to 3.5 in savings. Finance Minister introduced the 2021 Budget Performance Report to Parliament. Minister. The budget revenues increased last year thanks to economic recovery and the growth in tax revenues. The year ended with a plus 5.7% GDP growth instead of the predicted plus 3.2%. That growth was mostly due to recovery in the service industry. It could have been higher if it wasn't for the cut in agriculture. Total budget revenues were 1.684 T, plus 7.9%. 94.2% of budget revenues came from tax revenues. 22.7% of the GDP. The capital expenditures increased by 7.2%. Cargo trucks from EAEU countries will have a privilege while passing the Upper Lars checkpoint on Georgia-Russia border. Infrastructure Minister Sana Sayan. To address the long lines in Upper Lars. They decided to install a new terminal not far from the main ones. It will handle up to 200 vehicles per day. EAEU trucks will be prioritized. The land traffic increased after the war in Ukraine suspended cargo transfers via the Black Sea. Combined with the busy agricultural season, we were facing a serious challenge. The 400 capacity terminals were serving 700 vehicles per day. That should tell you a lot. A great amount of effort was put to address this. A few days ago our delegation led by Economy Minister visited Upper Lars to speak with Russian and Georgian colleagues. We have an agreement that the Russian side will soon install a new terminal that will prioritize EAEU trucks like ours. A few days ago we learned that Georgia will increase the cargo transfer fees by 75% for trucks that use Georgia as a transit state. Economy Minister Karobian said Georgia hasn't raised this fee in a decade, and that this latest hike is a lari dollar adjustment. This is not a big problem compared to the traffic jams, he said. Armenia will soon modernize and renovate its Megri border checkpoint with Iran. The construction will begin soon. IRS boss Batassian, EU ambassador, and EBRD representative visited the Megri checkpoint today to get acquainted with the customs process. IRS boss. Ensuring easy and fast movement for businesses and citizens is one of our priorities. The modernization of this checkpoint is very important. The program is financed by the EU and EBRD. It will boost passenger transportation and trade turnover. For the first time, Metsamor nuclear plant is operating at 98% capacity. Minister Sanasayan. Every year the NPP is suspended to undergo repairs. Last year it was quite a comprehensive one. Changes were made in the important parts. And in the end, we had an important achievement. Since 1996 the NPP has operated at 92% of its capacity. But after the changes, it has started operating with 98% for the first time. The launch of the 254 megawatts ARM Power thermal power plant last year was an important event. Minister Sanasayan. The plant plays an important role in our energy system. It was a major investment worth $250 million. Many jobs have been created, and the energy conversion efficiency of this plant is high. Last year 16.8% of the actual budget expenditures, or $700 million, went towards defense. Ruling MP. QPMP Andranik Kacharyan. There has been a change in expenditures and content following the 2020 war. This was necessary for ensuring the stable security course of the country. Military defense expenditures comprised $670 million, which is plus 9.8% versus 2019, and plus 45% versus 2018. The expenditures for military-industrial complex development comprised $4 million. The work on raising the combat preparedness of our armed forces and its technological modernization is a continuous effort. The National Security Services, some of its divisions protect borders. Received 22% more. Kacharyan. Serge. And ARF had essentially recognized Artsakh as part of Azerbaijan by accepting the common state Artsakh within Azerbaijan's territorial integrity, and a series of other documents. Pashinyan about what was done in the past, and what needs to be done now. Pashinyan. The claim that the former regimes were acting based on the principle of Artsakh will never be part of Azerbaijan is a complete lie. On 25 November 1998, the Kacharyan administration had agreed to accept as a basis for negotiations the so-called common state, which states, Nagorno-Karabakh is a state territorial formation in the form of a republic and constitutes a common state with Azerbaijan in the latter's internationally recognized borders. As personal identity documents, citizens of Nagorno-Karabakh will have Azerbaijani passports with a special stamp indicating Nagorno-Karabakh. It's strange that their response to OSCEMG wasn't Artsakh will never be part of Azerbaijan. When this was presented, the opposite is true. They agreed to this logic, that Artsakh will be within the territorial integrity of Azerbaijan. Moreover, they ignored Artsakh's independence declaration of 2 September 1991. and the independence referendum of 10 December 1991. This was followed by the territorial exchange proposal. The Armenian leaders had essentially recognized that Nagorno-Karabakh is part of Azerbaijan, and agreed to give away Megri in exchange for receiving Nagorno-Karabakh from Azerbaijan. The text of the document states that Armenia will give its Megri region, while Azerbaijan will give its Lachin region, Shushi, and Nagorno-Karabakh. It states that it's Azerbaijan that gives Nagorno-Karabakh to Armenia. The aforementioned shows that Kacharyan, Serj, and Arf in one case accepted that Artsakh could be part of Azerbaijan, and in the second case they accepted that it already is. It got worse during the Madrid Principles, which was officially presented by OSCE-MG co-chairs to Armenia and Azerbaijan in 2007 in Madrid. Armenia accepted them as the basis for negotiations. At the time, Kacharyan was the president, Serj was the premier, and Arf was part of the government. They all carry responsibility for these negotiation processes. By accepting the Madrid Principles, they shut down any realistic possibility that Nagorno-Karabakh could gain independence. The Madrid Principles stated that the future status of Nagorno-Karabakh would be decided after an agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan around a referendum. First question. What happened to the 10 December 1991 independence referendum? If you agree that Nagorno-Karabakh's status will be decided sometime in the future via referendum, you are thus declaring the previous referendum invalid. This was a major blow to Armenia's long-standing negotiation position because our entire argument prior to this was based on the fact that Nagorno-Karabakh had never been part of independent Azerbaijan because of the perfectly legal referendum of 1991. This was Armenia's position since the 1990s. Before the Kacharyan-Serj-Arf trio decided in the 2000s to essentially return Nagorno-Karabakh to be part of Karabakh. Second, by accepting Madrid Principles, they ruled out that Nagorno-Karabakh would not be part of Azerbaijan, because Azerbaijan was given a veto power on any future referendum for independence. Azerbaijan was given the power to prevent any status scenario they didn't like. For example, Azerbaijan says the referendum must take place after 50 years, while Armenia says 5 years. Azerbaijan disagrees. No referendum would be held in that case. Moreover, Azerbaijan was also given a veto power on granting Nagorno-Karabakh an interim status. Azerbaijan never wanted any interim status for Nagorno-Karabakh that would, in the future, give it the ability not to be part of Azerbaijan. Moreover, Madrid Principles never ruled out that Nagorno-Karabakh could become part of Azerbaijan. The Armenian side was boasting that the questions asked during the referendum would not be limited, and that it could be about any status for Nagorno-Karabakh. In reality, this opened the possibility for the referendum to be about Nagorno-Karabakh gaining a status within Azerbaijan. Do you agree for Nagorno-Karabakh to be an administrative district of Azerbaijan? Quote, could be the referendum question. You could argue that Nagorno-Karabakh would never vote yes on such a question. But are you sure? How do you know what Nagorno-Karabakh population would look like by the time the referendum was held? As envisaged by the negotiation process? Nagorno-Karabakh's former Azeri population returns to Nagorno-Karabakh, and a referendum is held 50 to 60 years later. What would the demographics look like? This is why the Armenian side would not agree for it to be held in 50 years. And as I've said, Azerbaijan would not agree for it to be held sooner. And in the end, there would be no referendum at all. According to the negotiation process we inherited, Nagorno-Karabakh would not be able to gain a status outside Azerbaijan without Azerbaijan's approval, including the interim status. This is what was behind the Madrid Principles combination of right to self-determination and territorial integrity. If you want to gain independence by using the right to self-determination without violating the territorial integrity part, you had to do it with the approval of Azerbaijan. This was the stance of OSCE co-chairs. They informed me about this in person. And this is visible from the past negotiation processes. To former regime. If you didn't accept Nagorno-Karabakh as part of Azerbaijan, then how come you agreed to invalidate the 1991 referendum and ask Azerbaijan's permission for another referendum? Moreover, the documents negotiated by Serge Sarkisyan do not specify that the referendum would take place in Nagorno-Karabakh. It says the entire population of Nagorno-Karabakh would take part in the referendum. To be more specific, it says there will be a nationwide referendum participated by the entire population of Nagorno-Karabakh. The entire population of Nagorno-Karabakh is mentioned as one part of the nationwide. This includes ethnic Armenians and Azeris. Today we are criticized for saying that the recognition of Armenia's and Azerbaijan's territorial integrity is not unacceptable. But the critics forget that it was them who officially recognized Azerbaijan's territorial integrity in 1992 and ratified by the Supreme Council, members of which were Robert Kacharyan and Serge Sarkisyan. Armenia also recognized Azerbaijan's territories in 2010 with the adoption of Armenia's administrative division law, which states that the Armenian villages in the Sakh-Megri sections, west of Artsakh, were bordering the Republic of Azerbaijan, and not Artsakh. Meanwhile, these territories were officially part of the Republic of Artsakh. Per Artsakh constitution, that means the MPs from Serge's HHK and ARF parties ignored Artsakh's constitution and recognized these territories as the Republic of Azerbaijan. This is the 20-year negotiation legacy of these people. And this is what served as the context for war. This is why Serge announced in early 2018 that, from now on, the war could happen at any moment. Because Azerbaijan's expectations and demands were unacceptable. Kacharyan and Serge must answer how we reached a point for Azerbaijan to have unrealistic and unacceptable demands after the negotiation process. While they were reassuring the Armenian public for years that the negotiations were going as planned and we were headed towards accomplishing our goals. In reality, Kacharyan and Serge were protecting their power at the cost of recognizing Artsakh as part of Azerbaijan, and destroying Armenia's narrative based on the 1991 independence referendum. They knew that the Armenian people would be willing to sacrifice many things for Artsakh. People tolerated them, thinking we were headed towards achieving our goals. One of the reasons the 2018 revolution happened was the series of statements made by Serge between the April 2016 war and 2018. His statements made many people understand that they were lied to. After the losses in April 2016, the population understood that their 25 years of sacrifices did not go toward strengthening the army and statehood. And instead it provided the gold-rich life for officials with mansions in US and EU. Today many are shocked that we were able to win the 2021 elections despite the 2020 war defeat. The reason is that people understood that the defeat wasn't a result of 1 to 2 years of our administration, and that it was born for 25 years. The bell of defeat wasn't rung on November 9, but in April 2016. When the Armenian side lost heights that were considered impregnable, after earlier losing a helicopter and soldiers due to diversion attacks. In 2013 to 2015 there were over 80,000 ceasefire violations on the border. They call this a peace. Thousands of soldiers died since the 1990s. They call this peace. Even if we consider the pre-2018 status quo peaceful, it was because of geopolitics. and not their efforts. The 2011 to 2014 events in Syria and Ukraine made an explosion inevitable. This will be analyzed and spoken about in the future. It cannot be discussed publicly now. We must draw conclusions from the negotiation history. As I said during my April speech, if in the past the Karabakh status was at the center of negotiations and everything else stemmed from it, then today it should be based on people's rights and security with the status stemming from it. A status is a method to guarantee rights and security. This is the language that the world understands. It better communicates our goals and the essence of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. In any case, any status that truly guarantees Armenians' rights and securities must be considered a solution by us. I call on Armenians to unite around the peace agenda. No one can guarantee that the peace agenda will succeed because peace is not unilateral. But we have chosen this path. The only guarantee for the state and security is peace. Comprehensive security is when the issues with neighbors are settled, the borders are demarcated, and the peace is established de jure. We are trying to accomplish this. We see that the number of those who want to eliminate us is greater than we imagine. And the peace agenda is an attempt to manage and neutralize the desires existing in the world to eliminate us. No one can guarantee that the peace agenda will succeed. This is a path for us accompanied by insults, accusations, and threats, both inside and outside. But we have the will and determination to pass this path. The opposite path will lead to the destruction of Nagorno-Karabakh and Armenia. We cannot allow this. Therefore, I call on the Armenian people to unite around a peace agenda. Around the Armenian statehood and its interests. Glory to Armenia and glory to independence. // Our government was, is, will be with Artsakh. Pashinyan. Asterisk in 2021-2022 Artsakh's budget reached an unprecedented level. The budget support provided by Armenia has reached an unprecedented amount. The government of Armenia has stood, stands, and will stand by Artsakh. Last year the opposition developed two main theses. They claimed we had abandoned Artsakh, and they urged us to publicly state that Artsakh will never be part of Azerbaijan. They claimed that Artsakh will never be part of Azerbaijan was their policy while they were in power, and that today's leadership has betrayed Artsakh by abandoning it. The thesis is easily denied just by Artsakh budget numbers. 2019, 118B, the highest since 1990s. 58B came from Armenia. Asterisk. 2021, 174B. 128B came from Armenia. Asterisk. 2022. TBD billion. 160B will come from Armenia. Asterisk. In other words, Artsakh's budget after the war has been the highest in history. And Armenia has never provided this level of support in the past. Armenia's assistance has increased by 122% compared to 2019. And the budget of Artsakh has increased by 48%. We also implemented aid programs worth 136B since December 2020. The salaries of public employees, the pensions, and benefits have been paid with funds provided by the budget of Armenia. The healthcare and education expenditures have been covered with these funds. Armenia has stood, stands, and will stand by Artsakh. No matter how much some circles do not notice it or try to sow contradictions between us. // #watch. 3,300 new apartments are being built for Artsakh IDPs. Armenian Govt. Asterisk. The new apartments will be in Stepanakert, Hevsipavan, Krasino, Ivanyan, Asthashan, Noragya, and Karmir village. The All Armenia Fund and other donors have joined the efforts. // In Krasino, they are building a new district with a steel structure. Each of the hundreds of apartments will have an 82 square meters space and access to a bomb shelter. There will be 12 three-story buildings and one district with single-family homes. There will be green areas for leisure. Artsakh Govt. Around 400 families have received housing. Around 1,000 apartments were taken, renovated, and given to families. Permanent and temporary. Anti-corruption. Governor of Shirak asks prosecutors to investigate several municipalities suspected of embezzling federal subsidy funds. Governor Nazeli. We've found multiple shortcomings in several settlements, big and small. We've asked prosecutors to investigate 2 cases. The first is Amasya. We believe the funds were wasted here. The second case is about a program to build housing in villages. We are also investigating complaints from residents about the streets in Arctic not being asphalted, despite receiving the funds. Another project under the scope is the construction of a park on Mush 2 halves in Gyumri. Europe signs a gas deal with Israel and Egypt in an effort to reduce reliance on Russia. EUEG has signed a trilateral natural gas agreement in Cairo on Wednesday to Kabul an energy strategy to replace the Russian supplies. The deal has been in the works since March. It will enable Israel to increase the export of its gas through already existing pipes to Egyptian ports, where it can be liquefied and sent to Europe. Israel has promised to accelerate gas output. Last year the EU imported 155 BCM from Russia, around 45% of imports. Israel has 690 BCM gas reserves in 2 fields. They are exploring the third. Gas and electricity prices could reduce in Armenia because of the strengthening of dram against dollar. QPMP Tunyon. Dram is going up. It went plus 12% against the dollar since this year, and plus 20% compared to last year. If it turns out the exchange rate is stabilizing in this range, is it possible that the prices of electricity and gas will be reviewed, since the exchange rate plays a major role in deciding their price? Deputy Premier Meher. Yes. But it depends if this is a long-term and fundamental thing. I won't rule out that it is. The Public Utility Agency could review the prices. QPMP Tunyon. Whenever the dram depreciates, the Utility Commission discusses price hikes. So a reduction would make sense. Do I understand correctly that you will monitor the exchange rate? And if the conditions allow for it, the issue of reducing prices will be discussed? Deputy Premier Meher. Yes. But they need to average it for the entire year and can't change the tariff every time the exchange rate changes. This is how much food costs in Gyumri. Shop owner in Ani district. The prices are increasing on a daily or weekly basis. Except for vegetables. Bread. Plus 10 since last week. Costs 130-140. Egg. 2050. No change. Cheese. Plus 10%. Iranian cheese went from 850 to 970. Ketchup. 330. Plus 50. Mayo. Was 280 for consumers. But the supplier is charging 300 now. So I have to sell it for 330. Matson and sour cream. Plus 10%. To 650. Quality macaroni. Big increase. Buying for 440 and selling for 490. Fats. 5,500. Plus 800. Potato and amp. Tomato. 350. 100. Cabbage and cucumber. 250 and 200. Assassins were sent to France to kill Azerbaijani blogger who has a social media channel critical of Ilham Aliyev. Reporters Without Borders urged the governments of France and Azerbaijan to address the issue at the highest level after 2 suspected hitmen were apprehended at a checkpoint in France. They were reportedly sent to kill Mohammed Mirzali. One was an Azeri suspect with a pistol. The other was a Moldovan of Turkish origin. Both had the blogger's address as their destination on GPS devices. In GT, Smart, and LT, one also had a photo of the blogger. This was the third attempt to murder Mirzali, who was given political asylum in France because of criticism of the Aliyev regime. Said Reporters Without Bloggers. Photo. Armenian Kachkar is installed in Bacău, Romania in place of an Armenian church destroyed during an earthquake. Armenian ambassador, Bacău mayor, and other guests took part in the opening ceremony of the cross stone. It replaces an Armenian church that was built in 1848 and destroyed in 1977 by an earthquake. Bacău and Razdan are sister cities. You should thank the owner of the company that employs Alan Simonyan's brother for returning to Armenia, making investments, and doing the same asphalt job for hundreds of millions of drams lower price. Annoyed infrastructure minister to a reporter. Alan Simonyan's brother's company recently won a tender for a 1.7 B road repair project after offering just $500K less than the competitor. How does this work? Minister. It's not Alan Simonyan's brother's company. He is employed there. You are missing the important part. This company lowered the initial bid by 493 meters. We announced a competition. 6 to 7 companies participated. The companies came and sat on those beautiful black chairs in the office. And the process is recorded on video. Whoever offers the lowest price is declared the winner. The winner, in this case, was the company that employs Alan Simonyan's brother. The owner of this company was in Ararat province the other day. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank him. Being an ethnic Armenian, a native of Ararat, and having many businesses abroad, he decided to return to Armenia after the 2018 revolution to make a large investment here. He built one of Armenia's best companies. One of the best asphalt factories that produces 200 tons of asphalt per hour. Instead of thanking the people who return to Armenia, make investments, and offer to repair the roads for a lower price, we are constantly trying to find dirt on them? Come to the ministry. I will give you the videotape of the auction process. Reporter. Is it possible to give a hint to one of the companies to lower the price? Minister. Lol. The process takes place while they sit next to each other. You are wasting time now. Come to the ministry and learn how the process works by watching the video. Company representatives attend the session and offer a bid one after the other. You should thank the company that saved 490 million for the Republic of Armenia. Armenian American NBA coach is training the Armenian basketball team. Rex Kalamian recently agreed to serve as the head coach of the Armenian national basketball team. He has 30 years of experience in the NBA. He believes the Armenian team has the potential to win the European Championship for small countries. Kalamian. We contacted the players 2 to 3 months ago to present to them in advance what our training process will be like. We also worked with several players weeks ago. They are in a good shape. The team is currently at a stage of understanding one another. I believe that we have the potential through which we could win the European Championship for small countries. However, it's important to know how the other teams are doing, as they all pass this preparation stage. I liked the basketball players who have joined the team from the domestic championship. Our task is not only to develop the Armenian basketball but also to put it on good ground. Poghosian, president of Armenian Basketball League A. Coach Kalamian understands how important this championship is for Armenian players. This is the first time the team is holding such high-level training. We have great coaches. Kalamian is aided by Pete Dominguez from Philadelphia 76. Before the tournament, We will compete against Team US, Syria, and Iran during the SADA Group tournament on June 23–26. The European Championship for small countries will be held in Malta from June 28 to July 3. Pashinyan and FIFA President Infantino discussed the construction of a new national stadium in Armenia. The head of the World Soccer Federation visited Armenia to attend events dedicated to the 30th anniversary of Armenia's Soccer Federation. Pashinyan. We appreciate that around 90 small soccer fields have been built in Armenia in recent years with the help of FIFA and government subsidies. The development of soccer infrastructures isn't just for sports. We have initiated radical reforms in the field of a healthy lifestyle. And we appreciate the cooperation of international partners. FIFA boss. Thanks. This is my first visit to Armenia. I'm impressed with the country. Its rich history and culture. They exchanged cooperation ideas. Pashinyan said that the construction of a national stadium with international standards is one of the priorities and that certain works have been done here. Armenian Soccer Federation chief presented the steps that have been taken so far. FIFA has agreed to support the process with all possible tools. They also thanked FIFA Foundation's executive chairman, ethnic Armenian world champion Yuri Jorkayev, for his efforts to boost AM-FIFA relations. Video. World-famous soccer players gathered in Armenia's Sovagiug village for a celebrity match. Armenia vs FIFA. Fernando Hierro, Yuri Jorkayev, Roman Berezovsky, and others gathered for a match. They split into Team FIFA and Team Armenia. The game finished 8–8. In GT. Rigged obviously. In LT. Kids swarmed the players to take photos. The presidents of Armenia and FIFA were present. This was also the opening ceremony of the newly built soccer pitch where they played. Yuri Jorkayev. Enmanatip Zagar Karawar en Kri. Hasarakutian. Arigzanari. Inkpis Nau Hyastani. FIFA Ieu Hfi Hamar. Sa Mek Pai. Kani Arazal Ink Zagal Isteg. The Stars will spend 2 days in Armenia. Armenian-American showman Dan Bilzerian is coming to Armenia to teach you how to party and play poker. He is on a trip to visit multiple countries. His last visit to Armenia was in 2018 to obtain citizenship. Scotlandian soccer fans donated $4,000 to Armenian children with autism ahead of the Scotland-Armenia match. The Scotch fans have a movement called Tartan Army Sunshine Appeal. They had visited a center for children with developmental disabilities in Yerevan to make a donation. First case of monkeypox is detected in neighboring Georgia monkeyface. Monkeypox is a new strain of the monkeypox virus. It travels through polluted rivers where residents dump household waste, including cardboard boxes. The World Health Organization estimates 4 million annual deaths associated with household waste in rivers. Do not do it. Yerevan wants to renovate half of all public kindergartens in the capital by the end of next year. Hundreds of kids returned to kindergarten No. 86 on Wednesday. Now in a new facility. The municipality spent $600,000 last year on a new roof, HVAC, doors, and windows, etc. The backyard will be revamped this year. They plan to renovate 50% of public kindergartens by the end of 2023. During the renovations, they also try to increase the capacity because Yerevan has a kindergarten shortage. Science and Business Days 2022 conference is launched in Yerevan. Armenian scientists, including Nobel Prize winner Patapotyan, were invited to the conference in Himalaya. Economy Minister Karobian. We will continue deepening the processes of integrating into the global economy and will offer the world our intellectual abilities. This conference is a wonderful opportunity for the development of the partnership of science in business, for the exchange of ideas. CRISP co-founder. Nowadays we have a great opportunity to create products in Armenia that will be used around the world. You are missing out a lot if you don't have a presence in Armenia. There are excellent opportunities for startups in Armenia. More. # in case you missed yesterday's news in by Impossible Ad. Archive by Donate to Armenia and AMP. Artsakh. The accused are innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. Even if they appear guilty,